5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
How about we do it again?
6, 7, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think I farted.
Okay, let's try one more
I
time.
definitely.
Ready?
I can move you. Making review. Making review.
Say 6,
6,
5,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to another Film Club edition of Rank and Review. This week's theme is creature comedies, so you got horror and comedy, and usually somewhere in the movie there's a central monster-ish figure. I guess it's more or less self-explanatory. It was condescending of me to re-explain that to you, but as usual, we have every member of the film club here to contribute a review. Mr. Scott Lehman is going to review Bordello of Blood with me. Lee Beckmann is going to review Idle Hands with me. Matthew Risling is going to review Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse with me. Jason Dubray is going to review The Wtches of Eastwick with me. Raylee Perkins is going to review Once Bitten with me. And Fehr is going to review Grabbers with me. So that's the food that you're about to put into your ears just now. You can send your feedback to ranknreview@gmail.com. That's ranknreview@gmail.com. The website is www.ranknreview.ca. There is a YouTube presence, a very small YouTube presence, but maybe you could help that grow with a like, a subscribe, or just comment your own rank beneath one of the episodes, or give your opinion on one of the reviews. Just any kind of traffic helps. So if you could do that, that would be great. And before we get into the reviews as at hand, we're going to have a quick discussion with the group about horror and comedy and how they feel about the two genres intermingling. Thank you so much for your ears. This is, by the way, the voice of your host and random Canadian, Larry Parsons. Now let's go ahead and do this. Comedy and horror are the chocolate and peanut butter of genres, and you find it more of a problematic thing. I remember we've had this conversation before. I'm putting words in your mouth. The too much comedy spoils the horror, too much horror spoils the comedy. So you're not saying it can't be done, but the balance is difficult. I feel like it's a minority opinion, but I just thought I would pick your brain on that. Where do you stand on horror comedies, and what is your ideal horror comedy? Maybe that's the thing. What do you look for?
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of, and maybe you have to be in the right mood for it, like kind of midnight screenings type of thing, or if I'm just like looking for something where, like, again, Evil Dead 2 to me, that's one that has that perfect balance, because it does bring the horror, the gore, the scares, but it also is hilarious. Like watching Bruce Campbell's facial expressions and watching him get beat up by his hand. I mean that really works well. And I it's not that I don't like them. It's just so few of them work for me.
Yeah. Well, I think if Evil Dead 2 is a special case.
They are complementary colors because I think they release similar serotonin hits in us. Comedy usually points to maybe like some kind of truth that is usually like horrifying of the human condition, and horror can do the same thing. We were watching actually Death of a Unicorn last night, which was a middling movie, but there's that opening sequence where they run over the unicorn, and right before the smash opening titles, we have Paul Rudd just beating the shit out of a unicorn, and both my wife and I let out like a oh my god and laughed, and then felt bad for laughing. Yeah, no, like especially a good comedy can make you go, "Oh my god!"
I feel like
So,
comedy might be a little bit more character focused than horror as a rule. Just so we need likable characters and we need like a very clear protagonist to cheer for, whereas the horror would like to, keep us more on their toes. But as far as the setup and delivery, in horror they set up and deliver scares, in comedy they set up and deliver laughs, but they're kind of approached in similar ways. They set these little things up so that they can be knocked down, and the payoff is either a laugh or a scare, or if it's done well, both.
Yeah, in fact, I'm just have an article coming out on the line between horror and humor, and the argument that I make is they're not oppositional, as a lot of people think. That in a lot of ways they're the same thing. The difference is more tonal than anything else. But a lot of good humor is a horrific situation that you laugh at, and a lot of horror is just it's this absurdity.
Abstractly hilarious somehow.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that might be part of your ability to enjoy Saw more than I do. The Saw franchise is just like, because you just get so past the ridiculous straight-facedness of it and just start to find it amusing, which I really wish I could get there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want us to have to litigate Saw again. But,
No.
I think my thing with Saw is it reminds me so much of the early 1980s slasher, like the classic era Friday the 13th, and of course it's stupid. It's the stupidest thing ever, but it's just fun to watch the gags.
I have my personal favorites. I always go to like Tremors or Ghostbusters, but the debate always is if it's too funny, it kind of kills the scares, and if it's too scary, it kind of kills the funny. So you kind of have to hit the sweet spot.
I would say like the Piranha remake of like whatever 2010 or whatever that was.
Right.
Yeah, but it's not like slapstick funny. Like they're not making jokes in it, but they are poking fun.
Yeah.
So they're like funny, but they're not trying to make it seem like it's like comedy. But they're doing that intentionally, and it's fucking funny.
Yeah.
So that would be probably my favorite, because I fucking love Piranha. Like I can watch that movie all day, every day. It's such a great movie. But
it just ages like wine, doesn't it?
Pardon?
But Jason's got a point too, because if you're in the mood to get scared, too many laughs is going to make you realize that this is just kind of a fun, good time where, some people are dying, but we're having fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that I just want to be uncomfortable and get on something under my nerves, and, wow, that really creeped me out. It's not really going to be the case when, Dennis Miller is your lead.
That's right.
But I love a good horror comedy. I think it's that balance that is tough, because there's some movies that just get it right, where it's the horror is there and the laughs are just spliced throughout to kind of keep it light a bit. But some are often more on one side or the other. That 50-50 blend is tough to get.
Yeah. I usually do find that one side tends to win. Like Ghostbusters, for instance, I think the comedy wins, right?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
But then there are other ones that... I don't know, it's a little bit grayer. Like Scream, for instance. I still think that there's enough in there that it's at least satirical. Maybe not a straight-up comedy, but it's satirical. But also a horror movie.
Yeah, I think Shaun of the Dead absolutely nailed it.
Yeah. It kept the gore up, kept the stakes up, but was still funny.
And had drama.
Yeah.
And you felt stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was actually... Because I'm a big supporter of this genre. And revisiting and discovering some of the ones on this list, I've been kind of surprised at how I've not been enjoying them as much as I recollected in some cases.
Right.
Comedy does have that problem of not aging well, but or it just could be like who the movie is geared at. Like one of the movies I'm talking about was Idle Hands. Do you remember Idle Hands?
Oh yeah, I remember Idle Hands. Seth Green, yeah.
Yeah. But it's one of those movies that it's not exactly bad, but it's just so of its time that like it's hard to know how to sit on it in some ways.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Bordello of Blood.
Lucy, I'm home!
Where pleasure may be for sale.
Take off your clothes, worm.
You know, you make it sound really enticing.
But death is on the house.
My name is Rafe Gutman. Gutman Investigations.
My brother's been gone for days.
This is your brother? Wow. Same parents? Zeke, I'm looking for your friend Caleb. You seen him? I'm here for the Cunningham wake.
I'm afraid the wake is closed tonight.
If I don't grieve right now, maybe even grieve 2 or 3 times, I'm gonna go out of my mind, okay?
Universal Pictures presents Dennis Miller.
We should split and get some really bad juju off this place.
In a new tale, so sexy.
Cool. Can I watch?
And so terrifying.
Don't forget tasteful.
It could only come from the crypt.
So, Mr. Scott Lehman, a few years ago now, it's weird how scary time is, you and I did this Guilty Pleasures episode. And I think the beer was kicking in for me about the time we started talking about Bordello of Blood, because I got all the information wrong about it. I was just so happy to be recording with you. But it's a perfect example of something like that should be on this movie, because I get a lot of pleasure out of Bordello of Blood, but it's an objectively bad movie. Like, it's not really confidently put together. Some of the no, it just isn't. Some of the actors, you can sort of see on their face, kind of don't want to be there, and its tone is just all over the place. It presents as a mystery that needs to be solved, but the detective doesn't do any detecting, and no real mystery is solved. Everything is just shown to us, right? But it is, a Tales from the Crypt movie, and those do come with a nod and a wink, like you're expected that this is going to be silly. But by all accounts, it overpoured on the silly, and a lot of people just weren't into it. Zemeckis was hoping to make a whole series of these, Tales from the Crypt movies, and Demon Knight did okay, but this one bombed. It bombed. But I don't know, there's something fascinating about it, because to me it weirdly works as a piece of almost abstract art entertainment. I genuinely enjoy watching it. I've seen it lots of times, but there's so many times where I do these weird face palms. They really went there. They really did that, It's also... Yeah. It's interesting if you I have this deluxe Blu-ray and there's a documentary on it. And of all the people they interview involved with the production, the most sane person that they talk to is Corey Feldman.
Okay, I was gonna guess.
If Corey Feldman is the most lucid person on set, I mean, I'm not even necessarily talking shit, but wow. Genuinely wow. Somebody on board, the production team, really liked Dennis Miller. He didn't want to do it, so he apparently jokingly said, "I'll do it for $1 million." And then they gave the man $1 million, and then he didn't bother learning his lines, and he just improv'd most of his dialogue. And they kept on saying, "You're a detective. You have to ask questions and investigate." And he kept on leaving the set, the glass cathedral where they're shooting their big finish of the movie was a nightmare. They thought they had an amazing location, but then they remembered reflections everywhere, and then they remembered they were shooting in the height of summer, so their night shoots only had a 4-hour window where there wasn't light coming in. The whole production was a nightmare. Most people think it's a mess, but for some crazy reason, your host and random Canadian is weirdly fascinated by this movie. It's a bad movie I return to. It's a bad movie I recommend. Am I out of my fucking mind, Scott?
This is a movie. We'll give it March for that. Man, Dennis Miller. I like Dennis Miller, back in his Saturday Night Live days and his, his weekly show we did as well at that HBO show, and just his style and in general, I was a fan. He is kind of just walking through this movie, isn't he? Just kind of going through the steps, and it did seem like when you said he's improv'd most of his stuff, I kind of felt that.
Yep.
Where it just seemed like he has those Dennis Miller isms throughout, where some of them are almost like kind of too smart for the audience, which just seems like it's always kind of his thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm going to make some references here that maybe most people won't get, but there'll be like two smart people in the back who go, "Ha, I got it."
But he's snotty about it. He'll make a John Merrick joke instead of an Elephant Man joke, right?
Yeah. And, I mean, if I had to find a complaint about it, I mean, it's pretty obvious. There's about 3 scenes in this movie where there's not female nudity.
Right.
Like, holy crap, you guys.
The exploitation is brought there. There's some not horrible practical effects.
Yeah, it's very exploitive. I was, just kind of scrolling through some reviews on it, and it seems generally women are not big fans of this movie.
Weird. Huh. Okay.
Some of the effects are bloody and fun and good, especially in 96. I think, 1996. We're starting to get a little bit CGI around here, maybe a little bit later, but there's some good stuff here, and it's kind of a fun movie. Yeah, it's sort of, Dennis Miller just sounds like Dennis Miller and stumbles through it, and he's charming enough, I guess, but it's an enjoyable movie. I agree. It's a guilty pleasure kind of thing.
Yeah. I think the Dennis Miller snark worked better when I believed that it was like a persona that he had. Now that, I know that that's just who he is, that he is kind of a condescending prick, it kind of takes the joy away from some of the Dennis Miller. But I still think he is funny in the movie. I do get laughs out of it. And whether or not he's an asshole in real life, he comes off as charming in the movie. Plot. Is there a plot here? Yes. Angela Everhart plays this ancient resurrected vampire who has come to corrupt this sort of megachurch, which is hosted by Chris Sarandon. Chris Sarandon is a great actor, but he's one of the people I'm talking about who you can kind of tell feels like his career is at a low point being in this movie. He played Prince Humperdinck, god damn it. He was in Dog Day Afternoon. What am I doing in Bordello of Blood? And I think that's the weird thing about this. Usually what I connect to about all of these movies is that the people behind them love it so much that their enthusiasm becomes infectious to me, and I feel that coming through on the screen. And it's funny how none of that happened here. But yeah, this ancient vampire wants to corrupt this church and somehow eventually take over the world. And as the title promises, she has this bordello, which has a funeral home as its sort of mock face. So people show up at this funeral home in the middle of the night, they get put in a coffin, sent down a chute, and then they find the titties. And then they get their blood drank. To people who are offended by the exploitation, obviously this movie isn't for you. But if you're going to sit down to watch Tales from the Crypt presents Bordello of Blood, I feel it would almost be offensive if there wasn't some amount of exploitation to it. What am I paying for here? It's tactless, but it's self-aware of tactlessness,
Yeah, and if you're offended by it, I think I agree. That's on you. You're watching the wrong movie.
We said the same thing with Terrifier 3. If you are outraged by Terrifier 3 and the content within it, why in the world are you watching Terrifier 3?
I believe this was supposed to be, I guess it started trilogy, right? At least 3 movies, but this one just bombed so bad they just cut it and said, all right.
They did a direct-to-video Tales from the Crypt movie, but after this. But yeah, no, the movie franchise, it was gone. It was dead. I'm going to try and find, sorry, I confess, I have IMDb open with me, but...
Yeah, see, I've always enjoyed the series, the Tales of the Crypt from the Crypt series, the Crypt Keeper and all that, his little cheating jokes he always tells before each episode and that, and how it starts off kind of like a creep show type thing. This one just seemed to throw joke after joke, and it didn't really give you a chance to really, finish one joke before the next one started. There's a scene when Dennis Miller and what's her name?
Erica Eleniak?
That's right. They're running through, trying to get away from the vampires, and and he said something like, "Feels like we're in a bad Tales from the Crypt episode,"
Huh?
which is kind of, I get it. But immediately after that, a big thing of steam shoots out, and he goes, "Oh, sorry, I had Mexican for lunch." But it's just another after another after another, and it's like, okay, let us sit on a joke for a second, and then you can do another Dennis Millerism. But just that. It just kind of goes and goes. I just noticed that was one moment, anyways, where I thought, hey, you should have paused a beat there. But
yeah, I want to shout out. I couldn't find the actor on the IMDb, and I don't want to stop everything to look for it. There's a character in here who quietly blows me away. I think that, unlike everyone else, he understood the assignment and was completely okay with how ridiculous this movie is.
Can I guess who it is?
Please.
Are you talking about the guy that kind of brings people to the brothel?
He recruits people. He goes to bars and he recruits people to come to this brothel. And he has the most amazing committed delivery and sales pitch. I just thought his performance was genius. I wish I could tell you the name of the actor here. But, he was super thrilled to be there. And
there was a couple of times watching him, I thought, he thinks he's in a different movie, doesn't he?
Yeah. Even Corey Feldman was excited to be part of this movie. He liked Tales from the Crypt. Robert Zemeckis is the producer on it, and the first movie had some cult charm around it. He was into it, and he kept on trying to get to know other cast members, and he said it's the only movie set he's ever been on where he didn't make any friends or any connections at all. Wow. That's not the best environment to work in. The director, Gilbert Adler, I want to say, is the name. Yeah, he worked exclusively in TV before this movie and has worked exclusively in TV after this movie. Yeah. Which isn't to talk shit about TV. If you're a working director, good for you. But I don't know. I feel like we've been talking endless shit about it, but I want to say every now and then there's just a movie that is so bad it's good. That's just fascinating. There's no reason that this movie should work. And for most people, it doesn't. But I don't know. I have a dopey smile on my face while I watch it.
Well, and it doesn't drag. I put it on just, I think I'll put this in. And before I knew it, it was over.
Yeah.
I think it's, 90 minutes, just a bit above or a bit below. But there's always something happening and moving us to the next scene. And there's stuff to look at, I guess. What did you think about, you mentioned Corey Feldman in this? Did he seem kind of... I wasn't sure how to take him. I mean, I know he's from the Lost Boys. He's got that vampire movie background. It just seemed him playing that his little punk rock badass was kind of I don't know. You're still Corey Feldman.
No, and he never disappears into a role. He's always who he is. He's just Corey Feldman. Sometimes he leans a little more into the Frog Brother thing, but for the most part, I don't think he's terrible, but he never escapes Corey. I never holy shit, that was Corey Feldman? My God!
I like seeing him as, that familiar face that we grew up with, saying, oh, right, Corey Feldman's in this, okay. It's kind of cool that way. I thought once he kind of turned vampire, he really seemed to be, I don't know, influenced a lot by, he had the Beetlejuice voice going pretty hard, I thought. Yeah. And that's all I could think of. He really wants to be Beetlejuice in this movie.
But I think he was committed in having fun, at least. He's not an amazing actor.
He went for it, that's right.
And no half measures. And that's what you kind of need for a movie that this is. It's just clearly self-consciously ridiculous, right? There's 4 pieces of the heart that has to be put together, and then to resurrect her, and then in order to kill her, you have to split the heart into 4 pieces again, and it knows how silly it is, which I think goes a long way to giving me, letting me give it some slack. But am I giving it too much slack? I absolutely am. But if you like the Tales from the Crypt TV series, or if this sounds like some kind of goofy fun that you could get behind, I'll say go ahead and watch it. If I hurt your feelings or I offended you, this is an unusual pick for me. Like I said, I put it on the guilty pleasures for a reason.
Yeah, if you like the Tales from the Crypt TV series, but you always thought, I wish this was longer and more violent and had way more nudity.
That's right.
And this movie is exactly for you. Some of the violence was, I think I mentioned before, I thought the effects were good. There's a scene when Dennis Miller, slices the lead vampire at the end with an axe. and she kind of almost split in half, gets kind of cleaned up, put back together, but there's this big gruesome scar for the rest of the movie, and that looked good. I mean, there was stuff that looked good, so yeah, I had some fun with it.
Here's another bit of weird trivia from the movie, just for a fun fact. Angie Everhart, who was playing the main vampire villain in this, she was mainly known for modeling. This was her first big role to break into the thing. And at the start of the production, she was engaged to Sylvester Stallone. And partway through the production, she was no longer engaged to Sylvester Stallone, and she was just an emotional wreck during it. So I remember in our previous discussion saying that she didn't come off well, but first time on screen and heartbroken and a lot of emotions. I don't know. I think she does the job enough, but
I think she came across very well.
Yeah. That's very nice of you. Is there anything else you would like to say about Bordello of Blood?
Yes, but I probably should just stop.
We are selling you some dead fish here. It's true, but I don't know.
I think if they went to PG or PG-13 with this movie, it
would
not
work.
be as much fun.
No.
First of all, the title, it's "What are you doing? Let's go full out," and they did. So.
Yeah. If they decide Terrifier 4 shall be PG, you and I will riot.
Yeah, no, we need a movie where the vampires are topless and beating hearts and getting split open. Good times.
We are men of simple pleasures.
And, a good rock and roll soundtrack as well helps kick it along, too. And killing vampires with water guns full of holy water. And, that always kind of seems to happen in these movies now. But
it's so much like my life, it's scary.
Ew, that's disgusting. His friends won't die. Dead. Undead, actually. And there was this big bright white light at the end of a long tunnel. So what happened? We were like, forget that, man. It's too far. And the only way to stop it...
Idle hands are the devil's playpen, so keep my hands occupied, right?
...is to keep it busy.
Freeze!
Drop the knitting needles.
That's probably not a good idea.
Put him down!
Cuff me!
Put those needles down, young man! Down!
Cuff me!
Columbia Pictures presents...
The police have no leads, and the killer is still out there.
You scream like a girl.
The comedy.
Careful, it's on kind of loose. That's really starting to get on my nerves.
That dares to give scary movies...
Hey, look at me! I'm in the face!
The backhand.
What you doing, man? That's my dad. Come on.
CPR, man. I saw him Baywatch. Did you lose something there, bud? Idle Hands. The touching story of a boy and his hand.
Kinky.
Fly for a white guy.
It was 1999, and I think maybe one of the reasons that Idle Hands is more of a cult thing than was fully embraced when it came out, because it kind of bombed when it came out.
But there's a reason for that, though.
It opened against The Matrix, I believe.
It wasn't even that. It actually came out 2 weeks after the Columbine massacre. And the American government decided to, because society was looking for answers at this point. Why did these two young men, grab a whole bunch of guns and open fire? And so in typical American government fashion, Joe Lieberman and another senator, I actually have it here somewhere, decided to point the fingers at Hollywood and saying, it's this kind of, pap, this violent pap that ends up corrupting our youth. And they managed to convince the American public that Hollywood was to blame, and people voted with their wallets. Like, they actually called out the movie Idle Hands that was coming. They actually asked Sony to either delay or completely sink the release. Sony went no, but it was at that point the damage was done.
Well, between Columbine and opening against The Matrix, yes. I don't think, the timing was not right for this movie. There are people who like it, and I do think it has a bit of a cult vibe around it now.
Yeah.
What I would say, I don't want to sort of work in school shootings to this, because the movie was not about Columbine. It was obviously not about Columbine.
And I'm saying that was an unfair attack.
It was absolutely an unfair attack, clearly. They're not exploiting school shooting for laugh. They're not, even though it's a goofy comedy. Well, no, I won't say all the death is taken seriously either.
No,
but
none of it's really taken seriously, but yeah.
But yeah, it's goofy. It's not malicious or dark or making some kind of masochistic, devastating statement about the harshness of our realities. It's a goofy kind of pothead teen movie, which I think is the good and the bad about it when I all get down. I think as a younger man, I could probably get more behind it, or if I was in the right mood for it. I do think tactily your reaction to a movie can be affected by the day you're having, which is why, as I keep saying, film criticism is bullshit. But that's right.
Show, but still, yes.
So be it, Jedi. I think on the right day, in the right mood, turn my brain off, I would have had more fun with it. In this one, I was just sort of like the nostalgia of the late 90s vibe and the pop punk soundtrack and stuff like that. It sort of triggered happy, warm memories in my head. But if I'm honest with myself, I don't think the movie's amazing. I think it's okay. I think it's fine. I think it's already a bit of a relic. But it mostly does what it sets out to do. Could they, make it a little bit more, driven by stakes instead of goofiness? Possibly. Is some of the American Pie bleed over humor in it not aging particularly well? Yeah, I think an argument could be made. Does the movie stop in the third act for a big advertisement for the new Offspring album? Yeah, that absolutely happens. Did I hate watching the movie? No. Am I enthusiastic about the movie? No. Where does Mr. Beckmann land on Idle Hands?
Well, I think making comedy is hard. I think I've come to believe that. I think it's easier to scare or emotionally move an audience than make them laugh. Where I ultimately land with Idle Hands is I appreciate it a lot more than actually like it. I appreciate its sort of giallo references, both with the lighting design and the set design. Like that's pure giallo. Dario Argento stuff, so I appreciated that. I appreciated that it brought the red, and I appreciate all the homages. Like, as a horror fan, like, they actually shot this movie in the same place where they shot Halloween.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, yeah. And then there's obviously the American Werewolf references. There's the Carrie references. Even the Offspring stuff. Like, I did laugh really hard when the hand comes and, like, scalps
the dude.
Of Offspring. So I appreciated that they brought the gore. I appreciated some of the slapstick humor. They decided to stretch like that sort of 3 to 5 minute sequence of Evil Dead 2 with the hand possessed and make it into a 92-minute movie with that comedy. Yeah. There's so much more they could have done with that, though. I think if they would have sat down and thought more about, like, we get the swinging of the cat, we get the whole cutting off of the hand, and, it going to the gym. But can you imagine the scene where, like, the hand is basically sort of the walking it of Anton. Like, Anton, they have this joke that he's such a stoner that he doesn't even know that his parents have been dead for, like, 2-3 days.
Well, the caption on the poster is "A touching story of a boy in his right hand," which I think is hilarious.
And they had the whole joke where, him and Jack Noseworthy character, that metalhead, where he's, kind of grabbing himself. But can you imagine a scene with the cops where, Anton's already starting to outwit them so much, but then, like, the hand takes over and starts assaulting the officers, or, writing a letter saying, no, you are an asshole, and giving to it. Like, there's so much more they could have done with the hand that...
Yeah, we haven't really talked about the premise, but Devon Sawa's right hand gets possessed by something demonic. And while it's attached to him, he kills 2 of his best friends. Now, his best friends are resurrected and sort of become his, funny sidekicks, a la American Werewolf in London, right? And so that's kind of cool. But the death of his parents is really not registered to him, like, at all. Your parents are dead, dude. Like, again, I know it's a comedy and, like, they can't allow him to be fully devastated and grieve, but, like, like some acknowledgement of that would have been nice. And on top, even though he's being really aggressive with Jessica Alba, the girl next door, it's because of the hand.
Yeah.
But again, touching this girl without her permission for comedy, I don't know how well she's into it, as it turns out. So that does make it, I guess, a difference. But yeah, the hand is making him more forward and aggressive, and it actually pays off for him. And I don't know, that's a little bit uncomfortable for me.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head there, as the old cliched idiosm goes, is that if they would have actually treated the teenage characters a little more realistically, like I was thinking both of stoner comedies, teen stoner comedies, but teen movies in general. And John Hughes is sort of considered, at least on American soil, as sort of the quintessential teenage filmmaker. And what is one thing that he did really well with his characters?
Took them seriously.
Yeah. This movie is stuck in 13 teenage-year-old boy kind of heaven. And
in that way, it knows its audience, I guess.
It does, and and Seth Green talked about this when he thought back of the movie. He thought, we were sort of doing this whole treating this as sort of as a serious drama, which I think is great for comedy. I think the actors knew what the assignment was. I think the director kind of knew a part of the assignment with like the whole, this is a satire of horror. But then the Suits decided, hey, let's screen this movie, but we need more cute zombie kind of joke stuff like that. Which, fine, it's good. But if they would have treated both the Alba character more than just this sort of sexual object, and the boys themselves with a little more reality, with a little more respect, I think a lot more comedy could have been brought out of that movie and made, and like it ends up being okay. But it could have been so much more if it would have treated the characters with a little more realism, to be perfectly honest.
It could take itself more seriously without asking us to take it seriously, I guess.
Yeah.
And
poor Jessica Alba is put through the ringer so much. Like even the climax, which they reshot, she's being like brought up, like she's tied to the roof of a car and almost being crushed. And yes, it's giggle worthy that the boys decide to smoke out of that exhaust bong, death by weed. But she's like, "You're getting high right now." I sort of think like, what do Anton and the boys really learn like on their hero's journey when the end credits roll? They really learn nothing. No. They really don't. And I think that's the difference. Like even like the great pothead movies, I think of Smiley Face and I think of Lebowski. Like all these characters have some sort of learning lesson by the end of the movie. Like the dude is going to be a dad by the end. Like responsibility is coming his way, and he's learned some things on his journey. Anna Faris, like she's on a chain gang. I think a good stoner comedy, we laugh with and at the characters, and this movie laughs with the characters, and I think that's the difference between it being an okay movie and what could have been a great movie. There's so much more comedy they could have explored with really more laughing at Anton. We get the whole oregano sequence, and that's it. Like I said, if they would have treated the teenage, like a lot of the characters more realistically, I think I would have laughed out hard more.
Yeah. There's a few missed opportunities. I understand that the parents' role were to be killed at the beginning of the movie as like a frightening stinger way to start. But you had Fred Willard in your movie. If you have Fred Willard in your movie, at least give him a couple of laugh lines. Like give him a moment of like, I was like, oh cool, Fred Willard. And then the scene was over and I was like, why Fred Willard? There were some missed opportunities. I do feel like we're being a little bit hard on it. Like, the goals of the movie were to just be a goofy comedy, to be like, I think, a stoner comedy with some edge to it. And on that level, it is successful. And this was during the time of like the American Pie franchise being popular. And like, I think it was sort of playing to the time, like the aesthetic feel and the vibe of comedy of that day to such a degree that it didn't really care that much about legacy,
No, but I'm glad that you mentioned American Pie, because at least with the first movie, that movie treated its characters kind of multifaceted. Like, they were insecure, they were nervous, they were, you know, they were having sex, some of them for the first time. There was a sense of authenticity to the humor, like the embarrassing humor element of it. And that's what Idle Hands, I think, sort of misses. Like, there's that scene where he's rolling that oregano.
Right.
And I sort of thought, well, what happened if the hand decided to mess with Anton and, like, grab the baggie of weed grab the baggie of weed, dangle it in front of him, and then, like, feed it to the dog. Like all these sort of opportunities to really sort of put Anton. The movie understood stoner culture. It could have done so much more with it in a more realistic bent.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, that's what makes Idle Hands okay and not great.
I think that the cast is really good. They're all so young. It's all weird seeing them. Like, this is a 25 years old, 26 years old almost. Like, time is scary. But, I mean, everybody's doing the job. It does have a fun, goofy vibe. It's kind of inconsistent in its energy. But, like, honestly, if you wanted to have a couple beers and watch something stupid, or smoke a bowl and watch something stupid, you could do worse than Idle Hands. But I don't know. It's got its cult reputation. It's maybe not completely earned, but it also didn't deserve to bomb, to be dismissed.
Well, no.
So it's again, God damn it, it's fine.
I know, and that's the thing. Like, you know, this is a couple of months after, you know, Scream was released, and once again, like, there was a horror satire that treated a lot of its teenage characters with a lot more intelligence and wit. So that's kind of where I'm like, and I know, like I'm overanalyzing something like Idle Hands. It you know, it's not aiming high, pardon the pun.
Mm-hmm.
It just sort of felt like if you have Seth Green, who is a really good writer, and I mean, he satirized this movie on his own show, Robot Chicken.
There you go.
Like if they could have let him and the other actor, was it Edmund?
Guy from Daredevil, yeah.
Yeah. Like, really let them sort of riff a little bit and play around with the skit. It just makes me wonder. Even with Devon Sawa, who, you know, they were trying to make into a Hollywood star at that point. If, like, let those three boys sort of play it out, and then bring Jessica Alba into the mix, who appears to be a quite intelligent actor herself, you know, savvy business person. They could have done so much more with it, and that's why it's kind of like, dude.
It's one of those movies that feels like it, on some level, knows it's a movie. Like, everybody in the movie has read the script, and that's why they're not bothered by the fact that they're zombies. Like, his buddy that gets decapitated, and they have all of this business with him carrying his head around and, like, having it duct tape on his body. It's funny, but take the, quote, horrifying reality of that situation for that character. And you don't have to play it for horror. You can still play it for laughs, but he just seems fine with it. He just seems fine with it.
Well, there's that scene where he's eating pudding or something. I can't remember what it was. And he's got that gaping neck wound, and the food is coming down his neck. I thought, okay, now the movie's going somewhere with this. It could have done a lot more of that. I think when it comes to, like, making fun of the horror and the horror movies, the film achieves as much as it probably could. It could have gone farther, but I guess as a stoner comedy, there's so much more stuff they could have played with and then mixed that stuff together.
And you're right, Scream was 3 years earlier than this. Scream was 96, right? But the Scream influence hadn't let go of horror yet. It was almost part of the deal that you be meta and wink at the audience and acknowledge the audience in that way. And it's not doing that as directly as Scream did, but it has that sort of vibe of, come on, you guys. And that can work, but I think you maybe need to, like, either full on embrace it or like, it's just another ingredient mixed in to see, will this work? Well, let's find out.
Well, there'd been a huge renaissance in the teenage movie at that point. Like, we had the 80s with the John Hughes, and all of a sudden we had all these, you know, was it About Last Night? That party movie.
Can't Hardly Wait?
Can't Hardly Wait at that point. We had, you know, obviously the American Pie movies had done well. we had Scream. Like, teenagers were going back to the cinemas tenfold. And, teenage comedies, sex comedies were huge. And teenage horror movies were huge. And I think they thought, let's put those two together and see what we have.
And then Columbine, and then The Matrix, and then Bomb.
Yeah, and Star Wars in there too. Like, don't forget, like, Star Wars also kind of went.
So
but yeah, no, like I said, society demanded a boogeyman, and Idle Hands was just part of them.
Yeah.
If you remember, like they said, like it wasn't just Idle Hands that people were targeting; it was video games as well. It didn't go anywhere, obviously, because these arguments never really do. I just wish that if you're going to target a movie with controversy, I wish the film could have been better. Like, what was that James Franco movie that he did with his old, like, Seth Rogen, that North Korea got really upset at?
Oh, The Interview.
The Interview. Like, there's a movie that got way more attention than it should have because of all the controversy surrounding it, but the movie itself is not very good.
It's raunchy and silly, but it weirdly has balls. It's daring, but daring doesn't necessarily mean good.
Yeah, same with like that Exit to Eden movie all those years ago, where it was banned in Saskatchewan for a while because it was a sex comedy, and eventually when they did release it, people were like, "This is why people are upset."
Yeah,
really.
Honestly, thank you for sparing me this Rosie O'Donnell movie.
Yeah, like, it just wasn't that good. And
No.
I sort of feel the same way with Idle Hands, that, I want to cheer for it now because, certain people wanted to demonize it, but it's that. So it's like, yeah, but I mean, like I said,
We're also closer to 50 than we are to 20, and I don't think we're the target audience for this anymore. And that kind of, it stings, the reality of that, to say out loud, but I do think it's true. If I was making this review...
We are the wrong audience for it, yes.
If I was doing this review at 19 instead of 49, I bet you I would have a lot more funny things to say and be much more impressed by the edginess of the movie. Whereas now I'm just like, yeah, that looks like 1999. That sounds like 1999. And there's a part of me that does get some joy out of it. But I stand by my fine. I stand by my fine.
Yeah, no, there's a huge nostalgia to it. Like, I remember, I was working at Rainbow Cinemas, and I had seen Idle Hands not just by sitting down and watching it, but just by working the theater and seeing it chunks and chunks and chunks at a time. So there was a whole lot of, nostalgic feelings coming back, and, all the clothes, and, there was a CD DVD stores at that point. So it's like, it was a much more innocent time.
Yeah. And that was definitely the age where they were selling the soundtrack as much as they were selling the movie, and that's sort of gone away a little bit. And,
yeah. But I do think, that scene at the dance with Offspring playing sort of solidifies the quality of the movie, where this movie is referencing a whole bunch of other good stuffs before it, thinking, hey, like they're covering the Ramones songs, I Want to Be Sedated. And then it's a good cover, but that's totally rock and roll high school.
Yeah.
And I kind of go, yes. We're, the movie's trying to think, remember these movies in this time? Yes, we're channeling it. That's great. But meh.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we need to go. We've gone 22 minutes. I don't think we need to do much more on Idle Hands. If this is your vibe, and if you were, young by the time this movie came out, I think it gives you a little bit of a leg up. Otherwise, it's fine. It's distracting. It's forgettable.
Yeah.
Whoa. It's Denise, what's her face? She went to our high school. Now she's a stripper.
Man.
Is she been not impossible to break?
Pretty handy.
I'm a scout.
Like an actual scout?
Yeah.
Nice things.
Thanks.
Tonight's the secret party, right? Everybody except the douchebags and the neckerchiefs will be going. This could be the night of our lives.
Carter, the town's deserted.
Dude, look.
What?
The bouncer, he's gone. We should sneak in.
Dude, there's like nobody here.
Don't worry, Mommy! Daddy's here!
Dude, something's wrong with her. Look at her chest.
No, that's makeup, dummy! It's a jungle thing! Oh my God! Wait, you're the stripper.
Cocktail waitress.
What is going on?
How do you think everyone's eating each other?
Like a...
So this guy, Christopher Landon, is the writer-director of Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. It's interesting for a few reasons, because this was supposed to be his sort of big break into Hollywood, but it didn't happen until several years later with Happy Death Day that he actually got the hit that he'd been trying to get. But this is one of the last ones of these kinds of movies that got a wide release. Now this kind of scale of movie is like your direct-to-streaming, second-tier, almost a completely digital existence type of movie that if it's not immediately popular, it disappears like it never happened.
Yeah.
This was released wide. It had a lot of expectations going into it. They figured it was going to make a lot of money. Zombie movies had been doing good. Zombieland, all of these things. And crickets.
Well, I think that the movie just missed the tail end of the zombie phenomenon because it wasn't actually that close to Zombieland when it came out. It was closer, I think, to Ready Player One, because I was wondering if the star of this had...
Same kid, yeah.
Was he filming Ready Player One when this was in theaters? Like, they would have been very close.
Pretty close, yeah, I imagine. I don't know exactly. I don't have the Ready Player One in front of me right now, but yeah. I think part of the problem too, timing is absolutely right, and I love zombies, dude. I love zombies, and I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, when, you guys, seriously.
Yeah.
But I do think there's a tone issue too, and when we were doing our little introduction, we were talking about how the comedy can soften the horror, and the horror can, accentuate the comedy. But I think there's a little bit too much American Pie squirted into the brew. Like there's,
you mean like boner comedy?
Yeah.
Kind of American?
Really hard R, old school, comparatively by our age, brutal homely. Like one of the zombies' breasts fall out of her shirt, and one of our quote heroes gives it a squeeze. One guy's about to fall out a window, and he grabs a zombie by the dick, and it stretches and rips off of his body and falls off. And it's got these moments.
Although that scene, the part with the boobs, and actually the whole thing with their
the strip club,
stripper,
I
wasn't a huge fan of. I did like the scene where he was stretching that zombie's dick. It was not something that I had seen before.
And fair enough. And like again, tripping over my own argument, maybe a little goes a long way. But what those moments really drew attention to themselves, because the whole movie wasn't that. It just had these like punctuating moments of that kind of like sort of, I don't know, somehow it pulled the curtain up for me. It just sort of like, oh, they're hitting these notes now. And I don't know, I feel like if you go full bore with it, there's a German zombie comedy called Night of the Living Dorks, which is exactly that. It's like a teen sex comedy, but they're zombies and their bodies are falling apart and they have to chase their testicle across the floor, and it's just wall-to-wall that. Like, if you want to go completely crazy gore, like Dead Alive, the Peter Jackson zombie movie, because you're so consistently just vomiting blood and gore at the screen, you kind of adapt to the waters. In this movie, the tone keeps on changing so radically that you never quite get to know it,
So I actually had a bit of a different experience. I won't say that I particularly liked this movie, although I didn't particularly mind it. When I was watching it, there was a certain familiarity because it felt to me so much like an 80s movie. It could have been something like Meatballs, but instead of a ski competition, there were zombies. Because It really was like these scouts that, they were, 16 years old. They were nerds because they were still in scouts, but they wanted to lose their virginity, so they were going to sneak to a party where they would presumably touch boobies. And the zombies felt sort of incidental to, like, that was really what the movie was about. So you said American Pie, but it struck me as something a little bit earlier, something maybe like Fright Night in its tone.
But it kind of jumps tone. Like, sometimes it's a little bit John Hughes, and then sometimes it's a little bit American Pie, and then it'll go to Fright Night or whatever. And sometimes movies can pull that off, but I felt like this one might have benefited from choosing a lane.
Yes, and in fact, the lane that it should have chosen is, which it hinted at a little bit, but really missed opportunities, that scouts could theoretically do well in a zombie apocalypse. They could use their scouting skills to make traps or to survive or something. But really, like, there was one scene where they were making a fire, and it was a payoff from this one scout that couldn't make a fire at the beginning. But otherwise, it was basically just their best friend, the stripper, shooting zombies for them and getting them out of a jam.
That was the picture I had in my head, like that they would like somehow lead them out into the woods and use their scout skills to survive or thwart the zombies. It also has the problem, and a lot of zombie movies, especially the comedy ones, do this, where the zombies are only present and only a threat when the movie needs them to be. Like, and now we have this moment where the friends can have their fight and sort of lick each other's wounds and like try to fix whatever's going wrong with their friend group, and then zombie attack, and then, you know, they start vibing with their stripper friend for a little while, and then zombie fight. I don't know. They also have David Koechner in the movie. He plays the scout leader.
Yeah, I thought, well, at first I thought he was really underutilized. He did come back as kind of a boss zombie towards the end. Like, for a long time I thought he was like the biggest name they had, and they had him filming for 2 days, so, you know, he had a couple of quick scenes and then he died, but, you know, maybe they got him for a week.
It's just weird, because I do think that guy's really funny, and none of his stuff really works as that funny to me. It's just, like, he turns into a zombie, and then he can't really talk or articulate that much anymore, and then it's just funny how many violent things happen to this particular zombie. I just, like, Koechner is a hilarious actor. If I had him in my movie, I would use him. I would agree with what you said at the start, that they had a great actor, but they didn't utilize him to the full potential.
I think another problem with this movie is it thought the fact of them being scouts and scouts being uncool was funnier than it was. I think they were just letting that do too much of the heavy lifting, and the cool kids don't like them because they're scouts. But I don't know, it's like, yeah, scouts aren't particularly cool, but it's not that shameful either.
No. I mean,
they just didn't do much with the premise.
They seem old to be scouts, but like it's not devastating. It's not like embarrassing or anything like that, I shouldn't think. I feel like I've been focusing on the negative, though. I mean, I have seen so many far worse zombie movies than this, and far worse zombie comedies. It doesn't really hurt going down. It moves pretty quickly, but like there's not a lot to distinguish it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had a pretty good time watching it. This is not really a recommendation, but it's not a recommendation. It's like the kind of movie I would have loved when I was 12 or 13. I loved horror movies where I could imagine being like a kid out in the city or something and running around, and you know, there's this certain feeling of freedom that I think Stranger Things tapped into a little bit, you know, like the kids on bikes energy.
Yeah.
They weren't on bikes in this, but there was a very kind of low stakes feel to it. I was trying to, like, it reminded me of something. I said Fright Night, which definitely in tone reminded me of that. A little bit of the movie Vamp, which came out at about the same time.
Hella 80s.
Had a little Monster Squad energy.
Again, I like a lot of those movies that you're referencing, but I think it's one of these cases where I kind of like what the movie's trying to be more than what the movie is, but I kept on cheering for it. I do think, like, the basic sort of trio of guys, that they all do the job well enough. I'm less confident about Denise Russo, or the actress is Sarah Dumont, the stripper that joins up with them. Like, none of them feel real world, but she definitely doesn't feel real world. She's a movie character in a movie doing movie stuff.
Yeah, and that was a shame, because I at first really liked her, and I was kind of hoping, you know, by the laws of 80s comedy, that the girl that he really wants isn't the one that he ends up with, you know, like it's the it's the one that starts off as the best friend, or the one that is slightly less attractive, and then at the end, when he gets the girl, he realizes, you know, it was the stripper he wanted all along. I think I just liked her because I like to see characters like that aren't completely exploited. Like, she doesn't take her clothes off for the audience or anything, and she ends up kicking ass.
They do successfully defy that expectation with her, but then that's it. And they did not defy that expectation with all the other women in the movie necessarily. So it doesn't ring sincere. But it's not necessarily offensive, but it's not necessarily sincere.
No, I mean, I don't think they were going for a girl boss moment. I think they were just trying to play with tropes a little bit.
Yeah. So in the end, I'm not mad at it, but I don't know who I'd recommend it to. I really hate it because it seems like half the movies I review get that devastating, it's fine.
This would probably go at the middle of most lists for me.
Right.
The time watching it, I wasn't looking at my watch. I wasn't tapping away on some game. So, like, it had me interested, but it never really rose to what it could have been.
A little of everything, but not enough of one thing. Like, if you wanted gore, there's gore, but it's sort of intermittent. And if you wanted the sexploitation, there's sexploitation, but it's intermittent. If you wanted the comedy, it's there, but intermittent. If you wanted the feelings, it's there, but intermittent. I don't know. It's it's messy.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about the Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse?
No, I mean, I guess if you're a zombie cinema completist,
this is another one.
Definitely worse ones out there.
Yeah.
This is a pretty lukewarm bath of a review. It's fine.
It's kind of tough to do these reviews too, because I usually get bogged down on the negatives because it's easier to pull those strings. But again, like we keep saying, there are problems, but it's all right. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's also not a lot that stands out as being a really great scene or a really terrible scene.
Yeah. Mid, as the kids would say.
Yeah. But I also didn't have a huge budget. That was part of it. You could tell they wanted the military scenes to look a little bit more epic than they did. But, you can't complain about that. And,
again, on the bar of low-budget zombie movies, this is pretty decent. Like, I have seen some pretty cringy low-budget, what's lower than micro-budget?
I think Suburban Sasquatch.
There you go. It's better than Suburban Sasquatch.
Raves Larry Parsons.
In the quiet town of Eastwick, where nothing ever changes, 3 beautiful women are about to discover powers they never dreamed they had.
Who should we be looking for? He should be really handsome. Nice eyes.
Now, the man of their dreams is here.
Jane, at last we meet.
To stay for a spell.
Who are you?
Just your average, horny little devil.
With the Wtches of Eastwick.
We could do things you haven't any idea.
You know what's going on up in that house?
She says she sees the devil here in Eastwick. If you were the devil, would you come to Eastwick?
Oh, I don't know.
Are you going to seduce me too?
So let's talk about The Wtches of Eastwick from George Miller and based off a novel from John Updike. I want to start by saying I do like the movie, but it's going to be one of these times where I like the movie, but I spend most of the review talking about stuff that bugs me about the movie. I get why it was a success. I get that it's, a central performance by Jack Nicholson playing a devil or the devil, or however you want to interpret it. That sort of sold itself on premise. And then you have Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer in sort of like their peak form. Michelle Pfeiffer was just edging on her big boom, but
she'd already had Scarface and
She was
few
definitely
hits.
on her way up. And then, like, Veronica Cartwright and Richard Jenkins, who I'd totally forgotten were in this movie, because when I saw the movie originally, I don't think I knew who they were.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have all of these pieces here. Like, it's almost like before I see the movie, it's at least a 3-star movie. So I think I brought some expectation to it. There's also the distance between it. This came out in 87. I probably saw it a couple years after it came out in theater, like on Super Channel or something like that. And my memory of it was actually quite different than the reality of it. I sort of thought of it as kind of a girl power movie, a feminist movie, as it were. Watching it now, I really didn't get that at all. And there's small things that, like, shouldn't bother me as much as they do, but just do. Like, a lot of times I can forgive the 80s aesthetic because it is what it is. But Susan Sarandon's glam up, she kind of looks ridiculous to me. She's supposed to be like super sexual and strange, but all I can smell the hairspray.
The big hair,
like
yeah.
I can feel like she's just a walking fire hazard, and I'm thinking those thoughts instead of being in the scene. Cher and Jack Nicholson are good actors, but I will posit that a lot of the times they're playing themselves, and I feel like it helps Jack here with the persona and the devil thing. With Cher as this small town lady who is perpetually single, I'm not buying it. The hipless pants that she's wearing showing off her skin, that's Cher. That's not the character that she's playing, right? Like, there's some distractions. And you can get away with this. Like, the Jeff Goldblums and Christopher Walkens of the world can basically play themselves in any movie and make it work. But here, in sort of small ways, I found it distracting. But here's the part that may make me end up sleeping on the couch for a few nights. So, premise, these 3 women who are all perpetually single, living in this small town, sort of discover that amongst themselves they have these powers, and they are able to make them manifest in the world. And they're so frustrated with the way their lives are going, they decide to summon the ultimate man. And they all agree on what the ultimate man is. That ultimate man shows up in the form of, yes, a demon, but he does do everything they asked him to do, and he sires children with all of them, and for that, he is exiled and denied access to the children. Is that feminist? Are they powerful? Are they positive characters? Were they meant to be positive characters? Because my memory as a kid is that there was this evil demon and they defeated him.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, again, we talked about this dynamic in Hard Candy, right? Mm-hmm. These are 2 monsters that met each other, and one ate the other. Does that make the movie less funny or less entertaining? Not particularly, but I'm not sure what it's going for. Maybe I need to read the novel, or like, maybe it doesn't need to be going for anything. Maybe I'm just overthinking it like a movie podcast or something like this. But I won't lie, while I was watching it this time, my brain was distracting me with all of these things, and I did not get lost in the narrative.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's a bad movie at all. Like, it works A, B to C, but I am not enthusiastic about The Witches of Eastwick, and I kind of expected that I was going to be. So that's where I start on it. Where does Jason?
Yeah, I'm curious if the John Updike novel, I feel like this might be a really good novel.
Right.
They have a terrific setting with this small town. The house reminded me of Salem's Lot. You know, and then like the stranger comes back into this, and it has this history. In this case, there was apparently witches. There were witch trials or witches that were killed there or something like that. Yeah, I think they're under the impression that they're making a feminist girl power film. I don't think it works, because also at one point we have Nicholson as appearing as a man with 3 women to have whatever male, fantasies that you have. I'm not sure how progressive that was, but maybe that was part of that was kind of leading into the 3rd act, when then they will start to, become enemies with him in a bit of a convoluted way. I had not watched this movie. I always had meant to watch it because of the cast. And I think we could probably agree. I mean, I'm a bigger Nicholson fan than you are, I think, but Jack Nicholson's a good actor, huh?
Yeah.
Would you say that Susan Sarandon is a good actor?
Usually like Susan Sarandon. I don't think she's a lock necessarily, but like she
more
does the job.
more hits than misses, I would say.
Absolutely, she does
Yeah.
the job. Like I would cast her in my movie if I was looking for a Susan Sarandon type.
I found the shock to me was that they were both actively bad in this movie, and I really, my thumb is way down. I think you like it a lot more than I do. There are some things that I like about it. Richard Jenkins is always dependable,
even in '87.
Yeah, he's just so centered. He's very good in these scenes, and Veronica Cartwright is this cartoon Christian who's supposed to represent like the right wing, the extreme conservatism of the 80s, trying to impose values, and that's why this is all
you end up being sympathetic to her.
Well, she like things don't make sense with. I'm not sure what they were going for, because she turns out to be right about all of these things, even though she comes across like a villain or a crazy person in the first part of the film. I don't think like that she can play big notes, and we've seen her do that in other movies. I wasn't thrilled with the character that she had. I think she did a good job with what she had, but Richard Jenkins really kind of kept those scenes
together,
grounded, and he's the newspaper editor, and he's working with Michelle Pfeiffer, but then because of his wife, he needs to fire her, and she has like 6 children at home. I will say, though, I thought Cher was very good, and there's a scene early on with Nicholson. She's acting circles around Jack Nicholson. And Michelle Pfeiffer was excellent. Again, a movie about them, like this is what I would be expecting from these two. And I was expecting that from the others. I was just really surprised at like how poorly, and again, it's in the writing, and maybe the book would help me out with this a little bit more, but Susan Sarandon's character just seemed so ridiculous to me. And then she gets
she was a prisoner of the plot, right?
She is a prisoner of the plot, but I don't think she was doing anything. Like, I've seen her in some bad movies where she can find some way to kind of ground them, even if they're bad. She gets that big makeover, and then suddenly she's like, she was this repressed music teacher, and then suddenly she's free, 90s, whatever. And then the band, this is like a middle school, elementary school band. They sound like an orchestra, like a professional symphony.
They suddenly get better.
Seriously. Like, I'm just, again, I'm fighting this movie, and I probably shouldn't be fighting this movie. I should be just enjoying it. But I found myself not really enjoying it, because I don't like to see talented people make something that, appears this bad. And I really, and I know what they were trying to go for. I thought there was a lot of possibilities. The satire of it could be very sharp, could be very strong. Again, like the Reagan era and the Bush senior era of the 80s really lent itself to a lot of kind of social criticism through something like this, as kind of a new McCarthy or witch trials type of a time. But I don't think any of that is focused, because we've got this broad comedy. We have a scene in a church, like more than one really bad scene in a church, but the scene where Nicholson is like, there's a lot of projectile vomiting happening, yes. And that's always going to win Jason Dubray over.
There is a lot of puking.
A lot of puking, way too much puking. Like if I'm watching like a Sam Raimi film, or I mentioned before we were talking like Dead Alive, Peter Jackson, we're going to have something that's this big, but I don't know. Tonally, it seems all over the place. Some things seem grounded, some things seem supernatural, other things seem like they're out of a 12-year-old's mind. And
I'll give the cherry sequence this. This is one of their spells where they all eat cherries.
Yeah, it has a purpose.
Yeah,
yes.
They're getting revenge on this woman, and it's one of the things that I'm not easily predicting. I don't know exactly where the movie is going with this right away, which a lot of the times we do. But largely, I do think I share a bunch of your concerns, but I don't think
it's not
to the
sinking
same
the boat
degree.
For you. Yeah,
I think that
the scene later on, though, like late in the when they're trying to do to Nicholson's character, and oh, by the way, again, I just want to go over. Daryl Van Horn, subtle, is Nicholson's character, but they're trying to get the revenge on him, and he's ended up in this church, and it's just again, that's just such a bad scene. I mean, Nicholson, usually when he's unglued, I can get behind it. I mean, even I criticize The Shining because he's like a psychopath before they get to the hotel.
Right.
But that kind of big Jack acting is interesting and entertaining, if nothing else. Here I wasn't entertained. I just thought, oh, they're wasting their time. They could be in a better movie now.
Well, I think the problem with that scene you're talking about is that I believe, as written, we're supposed to be enjoying him suffer and, quote, having the tables turn. And I end up being sympathetic to his position. They summoned me. I did everything they said they wanted me to do. They rejected me, and now they're tormenting me. And that's actually a largely accurate assessment of what's going on. Veronica Cartwright, I do think she may have been like the inspiration for Dana Carvey's church lady from Saturday Night Live. But I did.
Well, something good came out of this then,
right? But that scene where she breaks her leg, and then someone says, "I think you've broken your leg," and she's like, "I know, I've broken my leg." Like, I thought like that these little things would happen, and it's like you could sort of see the better movies.
This is what they could be, maybe. Yes, yeah, and maybe that's the frustration. Is I feel like this setting lent itself. Like, I'm a sucker for these small town horror movies or dark comedies or whatever. And so when first scenes and John Williams' score is in here, it's a very good. I mean, it goes without saying when John Williams does the score for, but not one of his most famous ones. But I was excited to get into it, and then I just got more and more disappointed to the point in that third act. I was like, okay, just off Nicholson. Let's get rid of him. Let's get to the end of the movie and let's move on with our lives. I was excited for it to be done, and it was probably about an hour before it was done.
And there's. I think another damning thing to say, even though I obviously you hate it more than or dislike it more than I do.
Yeah, I'm not saying hate because I've used that too much, and I don't hate it because there are some good things in here, and two of the performances worked really well for me. And I also got the sense that with Cher's character, at points it was also kind of wanting to be single and wanting to be out there and different, and there's like the hippie new agey person in this kind of
she liked how much she stand out in this town.
Whereas I don't think it's a thing where I'm supposed to believe that nobody is interested in her.
I feel like it could be improved by two opposite swings. Like, if it was a little crazier, if it had a little bit more of a Beetlejuice or a Sam Raimi energy to it, then it would be over the top. Maybe. And we could sort of lean into that. Or if it was darker and more serious, and it actually got into the meat of, like, what do women want? What do men want? What is the fundamental sort of conflict of that? So that either we could choose a side or that we could be impressed at the movie not choosing a side. But I feel like the movie tells us we're supposed to cheer for the Wtches because we establish with them, but nothing they do really makes them good or redeemable or worthy of cheering for.
I kind of liked the Susan Sarandon character until this makeover, and then I was like, I really don't care for her as much. I guess was this remade into a TV show or something? Like, maybe, I felt like this could be. They could remake this movie. Like, this would be something that they could do a really good job and put a kind of a modern lens in it, and maybe do that kind of darker version that we're talking about, which might have been the film I was hoping it would be, as opposed to kind of the broader comedy mixed in with these other.
Because it's not that the movie's exactly safe, but it just feels so loaded with potential that it feels like it should be considerably better than it is.
I thought it was R-rated. It was supposed to be somewhat edgy for the time, and quite, the cover suggests a lot of this, a very sexual type of a thing with the, they're all in these kind of revealing dresses, and Nicholson's face is over top of them, smiling away, doing his Jack Nicholson thing. Like, okay, is this like, is this some sort of late 80s sex comedy kind of mixing in some like witchy stuff or whatever? But it was a disappointment for me. Weird scene at the beginning. There are many weird scenes here, but we have the early scenes with Susan Sarandon when she is in front of her students practicing, and that guy comes in. I think it's the principal comes in and openly sexually harasses and assaults her in front of all of the students.
And where does that pay off? Does it pay off later? Like, here's somebody who deserves the wrath of the witches.
Like, that storm happens during that
His
ceremony
speech,
as their speech, but there's no comeuppance for him, So,
and again,
like,
if you
all
want,
men are horrible. Is that what we're supposed to get early on, or what?
That seems to be the thesis. But again, like when Jack Nicholson's having his ranting and raving, instead of like, haha, that's what you get, I'm feeling like, you know what? You're kind of making some valid points here. And when like he tries to visit his own children through the TV screen and they all like coyly deny him access to his children, I'm like, is this really a victory to them? Like I don't know. And I'd like to think there's more to the book, but I'm not that excited
maybe
about it.
I'm not rushing out to grab it right now, but I also, I know it's the 80s, but special effects and all the stuff that kind of what becomes of him at the end it just looks bad to me. And this is George Miller again. Like, he has made some terrific films.
Yeah.
All right. I kind of I'm some of the Mad Max movies Fury Road I had some issues with, but you can't deny the achievement that film was. And Furioso, I think, is underrated. And,
for sure.
And I liked, of course, the original trilogy, even the third one. Mm-hmm. So I'm on side with this director, and I thought, oh well, this is going to be great. Like, we got the cast, we got the director, we got the good source material. Let's go. And it just feels like,
And Miller was piping hot at the time, coming off of not just the Mad Max movies, but he did that the best segment in the Twilight Zone movie.
That's right, yeah.
And so again, expectations there. This is a behind-the-scenes note, which I usually don't like to necessarily bleed in, call it a trivia thing. I just think it's interesting. I saw a 2-period interview with the cast of The Witches of Eastwick, and to my shock, Michelle Pfeiffer was like, I didn't really enjoy working with the kids. Her character has like a half a dozen kids.
Yeah, there's tons of them, yeah.
And she was going on about how like it's impossible to keep them all focused, and if one's got what's going on, 2 of the other ones aren't, and it just made the scenes a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that was funny, because this is the woman who abandoned Hollywood to raise her kids, right?
But this was early. This was an interview in 87, right? Yeah. She was still up and coming, and
hungry.
I think, with those ingenue actors, when they're talking about kids, if they don't have kids already, they do have a little bit of that attitude. Like, they're working with child actors is just a nightmare. And she's a good actor. She held up those scenes and many other scenes.
But I do think that the kids are in this movie the way zombies are in bad zombie movies. They just show up when the plot needs them to.
Yes. What's going on with these kids?
If you're a single mother raising 6 kids, most of them still in the single-digit age category, you don't have time for any personal space at all.
No.
Like, that's not judgment. That's just reality, right? And the movie doesn't compensate for that at all. No. And again, it's a small note, but I felt it. Again, one of the many things that I was thinking about while I was watching the movie, instead of getting lost in the narrative.
Yeah.
So it's lukewarm review for me and a thumbs down from
big thumbs down for me. This is probably the biggest thumbs down I've had for a review on your show for a while. So,
alas.
Yeah. Anyway,
is there anything else?
I don't regret. I would have seen it anyway, right. And so I'm glad to have somebody to talk to you about it.
I'm 390 years old.
400 if you're a day.
Mark Kendall is necking
Finally happened.
with a vampire.
Did I enjoy it?
Now he's losing his girl,
Bit my lip.
his customers,
Get out of here!
his image,
Look, I'm not there.
and his mind.
Oh, wow, I love your outfits.
I'm not wearing a costume.
Mark's got to choose
It's like you're not the Mark I thought I knew. You look like Jerry Lewis.
between his first love
I'm the owner of the pants you've been trying to get into for the last 4 years.
and his last date.
How would you like to spend eternity with me?
I can't. I gotta go to college.
Before his future goes up in smoke.
How'd you like your crotch set on fire? Ooh, rough trade.
Nothing is sacred in a tasty comedy
Can I have one of those uncooked ones?
you can sink your teeth into.
How was it?
Delicious.
Once bitten.
I don't want to be a vampire. I'm a day person.
So I'm going to start the review just a little bit defensive by saying these were randomly distributed movies. I wasn't trying to pick a fight with you, and I didn't have these negative associations with Once Bitten. Which isn't to say that I did not acknowledge that the 80s was a very homophobic time. Even in movies I love, I often bring up that one line in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when they hug each other because they're so relieved that they're still alive, and then immediately back away and admonish each other as being gay, right? It's just that one line that was just kind of, sucks.
It's an otherwise classically great movie.
Right?
Like, it's only misstep, yeah.
It's just that one thing that's ouch. Whereas there's these other movies, like, just for instance, Once Bitten, where it seems like it is all over it, deliberately, like, hatefully waving its homophobia in your face. And it is just, sadly, an authentic representation of the 80s, which is maybe what makes it, like, extra infuriating. But it's also crazy to me because I watched this at a very young age and didn't clock it at all. It wasn't until I had this, like, well, let's see what, like, baby Jim Carrey did in his first movie. Like, that's sort of my headspace when I went into it. And as I started watching the movie, I was immediately horrified. I was thinking, I'm going to have to, like, give Raylee a heads up here.
And you did give me fair warning. I did appreciate that. But I do have a thick skin. But, yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah. So just to get the premise out of the way, and then we can get into the meat and potatoes. It's basically a teen sex comedy, and like I can actually like be forgiving of like a super bad or like a shallow, gross teen comedy that all the main goals of all the characters is to get drunk and have sex. It's
get laid.
That's right. There is a truth, I would say, into that awkward period of teenage days that can be authentically portrayed. It's particularly ugly in the way it's handled in this movie. But yes, Jim Carrey's obsessed with losing his virginity. He's been with this girl for a long time, and he's hilariously pressuring her into sex, but it's not working out. So solution, let's go out for a night in the town and find a lady of the evening who happens to be the Countess, this queen vampire, who bites him, and this makes him change and has a dramatic effect on his social circle and his high school world. And
don't forget, she preys on him because she needs a virgin.
She needs to prey on virgins. So I don't know why she's searching in LA. Like, I feel like she would do better almost anywhere else, but Yeah. But again, before I get into how hateful and ugly it is, it is neither funny nor scary. Like, at no point do I remember laughing out loud or even breathing loudly out of my nose, or my expression changing in any way. And nor at any point could I feel anything about any kind of stakes or scares. It was failing on both hands, already where we start from. So I guess it's not. I like to support Canadian talent, and it was probably very exciting for baby Jim Carrey to, have such a high-profile role. And it did make money. This movie wasn't a bomb necessarily. It just didn't really have any lasting impression. It just didn't stick around at all. But I did not enjoy revisiting it. Sometimes I can get behind some 80s nostalgia, and sometimes I can even blush a little bit and say, yeah, that would not go today. Yeah, that would not fly at all today, but I loved you when I was, 14, so I'm going to choose to continue loving you today. Once Bitten's just awful. It's just awful.
Yeah, the one and only time I laughed out loud was for some reason the Countess limo, her license plate said "Life Sucks." LYFSUX, Life Sucks, and for some reason I found that hilarious. I don't know why I thought that was so funny, but that was like the one laugh I got in the movie.
It's also really slow. It takes forever for him to get to the club. They have like this endless montage of them driving
in their ice cream truck.
And you're like, even if this was making fun of itself, which I don't think it was, it's not funny. It's just like, it's cringy.
I actually had some really Dumb and Dumber moments when they were in the ice cream truck as he's driving around, because it kind of seemed like that same Like, he had some similar, like, I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of that when they were driving around a lot. They drove around a lot.
For sure.
Yeah, like, I didn't know anything going into it. I try and go in fairly blind with these just because I'm that way. And, yeah, the whole time I'm like, is this scary? Is this funny? Like, what? Like, I was trying to think of your show and, like, where you were putting this in the, like, realm of things, and I was like, I have no idea. I don't know where he's gonna put this, what the theme of this is going to be, because, like, I just it wasn't either of those things. It was very 80s, so I was like, maybe he's doing an 80s theme.
The idea was the mixing of the genres of horror and comedy, again, in theory.
Is what it was supposed to
That
be.
was the goal that I was sort of representing. And people associate Jim Carrey with comedy. And honestly, I think if anyone other than Jim Carrey was starring in this movie, it would be completely forgotten. We would not be talking about it right now. Yeah. It's probably only sort of managed to keep its shelf life because of the hyper fame of Jim Carrey subsequent to this.
Yeah, and, like, you warned me about it, which I appreciated. And, like, So I actually was going to start, like, a tally of, like, all the transphobe and homophobic things.
Yeah, let's get into it for sure.
There wasn't, like, I was like, it's really not that it's not bad. It was bad. But, like, when you warned me, I was expecting it, and then the shower scene hit at the end, and, like, I hadn't watched, like, I was like, oh, and that happens in, like, the last 20, like, it's very late.
Yeah.
In the where, like, that happens, and so I was like, oh, like, I hated the warning, but, like, I thought it was going to be way worse. And then that happened, and I'm like, oh, that's what he meant.
That's pretty bad. Well, the thing is, it's baked in throughout the entire movie. Anytime, like, they make reference to a character or they spot, like, a gay character, it's to a negative extent, except for, I guess, Cleavon Little. Yeah, the Countess's sort of right-hand man. Yeah. He clearly presents as, you know, queer, I think, and not judged for it, unlike everyone else in the movie, which is an interesting kind of counterbalance to the general hatefulness of the rest of it.
Yeah, especially as he's putting, like, he's also black and queer,
yeah.
And he's, like, putting vampires to bed in their, like, coffins with the Confederate flag.
Right?
Really great, yeah.
And sometimes with a goofy, quote, sex comedy, your Superbads or your Animal House or something like that kind of vibe, not that I'm endorsing the hyper horny behavior of the characters, but you can kind of want to like or cheer for them. And there's nobody to like or cheer for in this movie, like, as presented.
Yeah, no, like, and there's no, like, I mean, she's supposed to be the villain, but, like, she's not. Like, she's just another person in the movie, I thought.
Yeah.
But I did really get a kick out of the dance montage.
Okay.
At school dance.
Oh, when he vamps out at the school dance? Yeah.
And they're, like, battling for his eternal soul, and it's, like... it was a good dance montage. I will give it that. That's the one good thing I will say about it.
It really sort of spotlights the worst sort of impulses of the 80s teen comedy of the time. Totally. There are scenes of this in Teen Wolf, but there's still enough other good things going on that I can't make excuses for its homophobia, but, like, I'm somehow a little bit more forgiving of it than I am here because, like, the movie is just wall-to-wall bad and I have to deal with it. And I think it's just, like, an authentic representation of how hateful the period was. This was okay to be out on the big screen in, like, a, quote, family comedy realm, and nobody questioned it. It was just hilarious. It's sort of a slap in the face of nostalgia. It's like this thorn that we found in this bush, you know, like, it makes me want to take pause before I revisit something that I have this, like, great memory of from the 80s because, oh, is it going to be really gross when I revisit it now?
Or, like, you want to review it before you recommend it just in case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think too, like, not just the homophobia, but like the transphobia that's just sort of like weaved throughout as well. Not even weaved, like blatantly there. Like when they go to the bar, and there's another thing now, like it's just so normalized in the movie. Like it's just like that's the joke. And like Jim Carrey also had some pretty problematic stuff, transphobic stuff in
Ace Ventura.
So like this isn't the first time he has been problematic in this realm for me. But,
and even like with Ace Ventura, again, not to defend that genius movie, but if you wanted to, I think that his overreaction to discovering that he kissed someone who used to be a man can be kind of played funny just because of how over the top it is, if you want to try to make an excuse for it, which I don't recommend that you do. Yeah. But again, it's that one scene in this movie where I really felt like the homophobia was baked into this movie. It was like somehow omnipresent. It was unmissable, you know?
Yeah, like there would be no way to like talk your way out of it or
right.
like talk around it. They got like teenage young middle year boys, the thing where they like touch each other and then say no homo.
Right.
And like that's what I felt this whole movie. Just like, hey, no homo, like the whole time. Yeah.
No.
And it didn't, like I said, it didn't really have anything that stuck out to me as like good. Like it wasn't funny, it wasn't scary, it wasn't a vampire movie, it wasn't a good teenage coming of age sex movie. It kind of just missed the marks.
And like, no, what was the solution? Well, the girl that he'd been pressuring to have sex finally concedes, and by sleeping with him saves the day. Like,
in a coffin.
Right? What a great lesson. What a great moral sort of, I don't know. I don't know what we would seriously be expecting, but I was thinking laughs and or thrills and not being slapped in the face and being made uncomfortable by it. It was a real slog. It was a
and or
just like, yeah, even after a point giving me the hope within me that something accidentally hilarious might happen, that I could sit here and be saying, but I gotta say, there was just that one scene that did no, that never happened. It never happened. It was slow, it was tedious, it was offensive and unfunny and unscary, and I feel like I owe you like a dinner or something, or take you to like a good movie type of thing, because
you owe me one podcast review of Piranha.
I see where you're going with this.
It made me so happy. Yeah, like, I mean, it's good. I watched it. I won't watch it again. I won't tell people to watch it. I'll actively tell people not to watch it.
I would put a flag here and say, don't waste your time. Yeah. Don't waste your time.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's not waste our time anymore on this. Let's put this behind us.
Christ, what did I tell you?
I believe in coincidences.
Not really.
You are so lucky she didn't kill you.
You were drunk. If we taint our blood with booze, we're poisonous to eat.
It's extraordinary.
We stay out of the rain, and we drink.
You're throwing a party. It's a welcome party for me. But you're leaving in a fortnight.
It's just a goodbye party, whatever.
Tequila! She's out of the door. You've got it all under control. There's none trying to kill you.
Have you got Semtex on you? Not on me, no.
Oh, I'm pissed.
It's okay. I'm all right.
Yeah. Return of the Living Dead is one of those movies that not only are you dead right, it's just a great horror comedy.
Just a great movie, yeah.
I've reviewed it twice on the podcast now, and in one of the cases, we were in a garage that was so hot I couldn't think clearly. And the other occasion, I was with Lee, and we were doing the Romero-thon and like zombie movies. And I was just starting to get sick, but I wasn't like coughing yet, but it was like in my head. I feel like I've never done Return of the Living Dead the justice it deserves on Rank and Review, damn it. A little shout out.
If you ever decide to do it, it's probably one of my favorite movies of all time, so I'd be on board.
It's fantastic. Alas, today we are here to talk about Grabbers. And in this crop of movies that I have to look at this week, I think it really overperformed for me. It's got a few things going for it right away that like lean it towards my sort of likes and wants, so it makes me more in a position to like it. But it's Irish. I have a thing for accents. I don't know. Just I find it charming and appealing. It's got a really good sense of place, and it's a goofy monster movie with, I guess you'd say they're squid-like monsters, but it's an original monster. It is trying to be in the realm of something like Tremors, which is, as far as I'm concerned, really big shoes to fill. And
you bet.
I think that Grabbers has actually got the charm and got the personality to pull it off. I don't think it's better than Tremors, but I think that it's a really good swing at it. It's like what you want from this type of movie. There's enough stakes that you can be worried for these charming Irish people that live on this island community. And the creatures and the characters are straight enough that you can sort of, buy into whatever story or plot points they have to, but the creature does have some stakes to it. Like, it's interesting. And the added wrinkle is that they don't just have to board up the windows and fight things off with a shotgun. The discovery early in the movie is that if you have a certain percentage of blood alcohol, the creatures don't want anything to do with you. In fact, you're kind of poisonous to them. Mm-hmm. So the solution for this community is to lock everybody in the bar for an all-night, what do they call it when they do that in England? They lock everybody. Yeah. Anyway, there's a term for it. Everybody in the community gets locked into the bar and stays hammered throughout the night so that they can survive this siege before, the mainland can come to help or whatever. So, interesting premise, charming characters, and, that Irish flair. It's interesting, Ireland and its sort of relationship with alcohol. We sort of associate the entire culture of it with drinking, which, is maybe not the most... They deserve to be recognized for more than that. But it is kind of an interesting cultural thing that they can actually weigh in on a little bit in this movie. Like, it goes without saying that everybody in the town drinks, so that's not a problem, right?
Look, the one country in the world that could pull it off is Ireland, and they did.
No, they have enough alcohol in the town on standby to keep everybody loaded for a full day, no problem, right? So no, I was actually very charmed by Grabbers. I think even more so this time, seeing it for the second time, I really appreciated. All the component parts worked really well. It's charming, it's fun, and they're CG monsters, but they're good CG monsters. So I'm a fan of Grabbers, but I'm here to get your take on it. What did Rick Fehr think of Grabbers?
I had never seen it before. I came in blind. I didn't read about it beforehand, so I just wanted to come in blind. Originally, I thought it was going to be a Tremors knockoff, and to a certain extent it was, but not terribly so. And I was pleasantly surprised. The production value was really good, great acting, loved the premise. There's you can see lots of, I don't know if it was homages or anything, but there were some Jaws elements. There was some alien elements as well. The creature design with the maw of the mouth in the middle, it opens the way the Nostromo doors open in Alien. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, I didn't make that connection, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like circular, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I thought it was a fun little romp, and I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed it.
I like that our two main characters, the female character is about to leave the island, I believe, and they've clearly had a past together. And at the beginning of the movie, he's kind of this hungover, grumpy, not very put together guy, and she's got her poop in a group completely. And by the end of the movie, they've completely switched roles, but we still like both of them a lot. She was sort of their experiment, the guinea pig, like to see if this alcohol thing will work.
Yep.
And she's not used to drinking every day like the bulk of the community. So there's something really charming of seeing this very serious person trying to navigate drunk And then the flip side of the coin, and maybe the harder one to believe, is that this lifelong drinker decides he's going to be the one guy who stays sober. And not only does he do it, he does it pretty, without a lot of friction and a lot of like stress over it. Part of me feels like if you're a daily drinker for that long, you're an alcoholic. And if you're an alcoholic, 24 hours without booze is going to bother you.
You're going to have a rough time, yeah.
But it's not that kind of movie. It would also be too much if he was like, having a seizure or sweating it out on the floor or crying it out. Like, the movie understands what it is, but it still plays with these kind of ideas.
It allowed me to suspend disbelief for the purpose of the plot, which is fine.
I also think it recognizes the importance of community. Tremors recognize this too. It's not just the core characters. Everybody, even if they only have a couple of scenes, feels like fully lived in, and we kind of like them. We worry for them. There's another Irish movie about a guy who wins the lottery. Oh my God, my brain is... I will splice it in the name of it, but it's a really charming Irish community, and they want to know what they're going to do with this money, and the people are all shuffling everything around, and it's like they took the charm and love and the Irishness of that movie and threw it into this monster movie, because they're kind of silly caricatures, but you don't want anything bad to happen to these silly caricatures.
Everybody's likable.
And, again, real world, a lot of people get too much alcohol in them. All of a sudden, their attitudes start flaring up and things like that.
Yeah.
But,
Oh my God, the scene where the grabber dangles the guy in front of the door to lure the guy. Oh my God. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, okay, I'm in. I'm sold. Hilarious.
Macabre a little bit, and
yeah, definitely.
They could have gone harder with this too, like the whole idea, like if everybody got shit-faced and then that became another kind of obstacle in a lot of ways. It's kind of sweet that during the lockdown, that's what they call it when they put them people in the bar overnight, that for the most part everybody just starts singing and having a good time. There's the classic comedy feature of like the old Irish lady, I'm pissed.
I'm pissed. I'm going home.
I'm surprised that this movie doesn't have more noise around it, honestly. Like, it seemed to have come and went. Maybe it made a bigger deal on the other side of the ocean, but I feel like this one might have slipped through the fingers of a lot of people. So, if nothing else, I want to shout it out for that reason.
It's never even crossed it's never been on any lists that I've seen or anything like that. It's never crossed my view, and I'm glad it was my choice because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think this was probably my favorite viewing on this list, and if you were to guess out of the list of movies I was looking at, I don't know if this one would have jumped out. But, here we are. And in defense of CGI monsters, which a lot of people shit on. The grabbers in this movie are completely CGI, but they're good CGI. And for the most part, I mean, they're not to the point where you're looking around to see the soft edges of it. Like, I'm sure that there are some sequences that look better than others, but I think we've gotten to the point where the CG creatures are doable. Now, if you have the money and the means, and you can do a practical creature, please do that. But for a siege of these giant squid creatures on this small island community, CGI just makes a lot more sense. Or if you have CGI for the big moving creatures, but if they're interacting directly with an actor, then you have a puppet or a special effect in some way.
Yeah.
But there was a time...
I think they budgeted appropriately.
Yeah. There was a time where I would sort of roll my eyes at the CGI creature features, particularly like things like Ghosts in the Darkness or the original Anaconda, where like the CG just wasn't quite there yet. So like you're building your whole movie around a creature that just doesn't look that great. I think we've transitioned past that phase, and if you have a good company doing the special effects, yes, a CG creature has to work, but your screenplay and your characters also have to be there, and Grabbers definitely took that home for me.
And for this movie, the characters were the driving force in the movie. It wasn't the creature. So
that's very true too.
Yeah.
I think as far as the screenplay is concerned, we're here for the humor and the charm of the community, and the creatures are an obstacle. And I think in a misbalanced horror comedy, they could get that wrong. Like I say, all of the very real things about alcohol, they could have injected into it. There could have been a real asshole in the bar wrecking it for everyone, or there could have been, people getting sick, or and then all of a sudden you'd feel the fun leaking out of the movie just rapidly. They were really, really careful to keep a smile on your face, and I appreciate that.
They used the light touch, which was the correct way to do it.
Is there anything else you would like to say about Grabbers?
I just want to make a shout out for the character name dropped out of my head. The doctor in it, he was the werewolf on Being Human, which was a nice surprise because that's one of my favorite over the seas TV shows. So.
Oh, they're not Russell Tovey?
Ah, there he is. Yeah,
Russell Tovey. I've got IMDb up here for him. Yeah.
Thanks.
Uniformly good cast and casting for it, and again, they just probably got the best Irish actors that were available when they were shooting, is my guess. Check out Grabbers if you have not. It is unsung, damn it. So, interesting. Creature comedies, comedy horror. I'm a defender of the genre, but I'm increasingly reminded at what a difficult genre this is to get right. I mean, one of the entries I think mainly did wrong, but still stumbled into a pretty high rank. This was a difficult rank to get my head around. The easy part was last place, which was Once Bitten, an unfunny, unscary, homophobic drag through the 80s, and just an unpleasant experience. I know I watched it when I was a kid. I don't remember even that I had an opinion of it, but I just know that I'd watched it, and it is stunning to watch today. I have said often in the podcast that comedy doesn't age well. This is a really brutal example of that. So yes, there it goes. In fifth place, I think I'm going to put Idle Hands, which again seems controversial. I know a lot of people like Idle Hands, and I don't dislike Idle Hands. It's feeling very much like an article of the past in a way that I'm uncomfortable with, and kind of dulled some of the comedy for me. Plus, there was sort of the whole era of the American Pie humor, which even when it was popular, I wasn't like the most fervent fan of. But not a horrible movie, but just not to my expectations. Speaking of not to my expectations, The Wtches of Eastwick is in fourth place. Considering the cast, considering the director, considering the source material, considering my memory of seeing it again at a younger age and finding more to it, I was a little bit let down by it, but at the same time acknowledge there's a lot of craft and skill in it, a lot of actors that I like in it. It's not a boring watch, but it's disappointing. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. So somehow Bordello of Blood is making it all the way to third place, but I would definitely flag this as there's stuff going wrong left and right in the movie that actually added to my enjoyment of it. Like, nothing about it should work or really does work, but there's just something about the movie that makes me smile and laugh. It's personal, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Dennis Miller used to be funny, but apparently he's an asshole, and it's both too goofy for its own good, but maybe at the same time it just needed something in it that felt real or straight-faced to help the stakes mean anything. But as a guilty pleasure, so bad it's good watch, it's definitely one of those, and a good one of those. I'm not enthusiastic about Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse, but I do think it achieved most of the goals it set out for itself. Second place seems ridiculously high, but again, it was kind of an underwhelming list overall, I guess, and this is probably the best evidence of that. It's another zombie comedy. There's lots of them, but I don't know that this one, does a lot to make it stand out. And again, as I was saying, that American Pie humor sort of struggling to make a comeback. In first place, I'm going to put Grabbers, and I think it's an unsung, hopefully someday cult item that people will find and recognize, because it's a super fun, super goofy, super charming creature comedy, and the world could use with a few more of those. If you have not seen Grabbers, seek it out. That is my rank. I know it's sad that the episode has come to an end. I'm sad, you're sad, everybody is sad about it. But in the 2-week gaps, you have other things you can put in your ears, like Jason Dubray's podcast, the Shelf Shedding Movie Show, just to pick a random, podcast out of the air. How did you think this episode went? What did you think of my rank? How would you rank it? You could send me feedback either at the YouTube site or right directly through the emails at ranknreview@gmail.com. ranknreview@gmail.com. Please do tell that other film nerd in your life about the podcast. Any way we can find more ears for the show is a positive thing for me. The Film Club shall return, and RNR shall return, as I say, every other Wednesday until we take our season break at episode 300. What?